Hello, everybody. Welcome in to the Dating Hotline. I am so glad to see awesome amount of people here. Welcome in. See some regulars, see some new people. That is awesome. Welcome to the Dating Hotline, the show where you guys run the show, right? Whatever questions you guys have, come talk to me. A little bit about me. My name is Tony. If this is your first time on, my name is Tony Tibbetts. I am the live events manager at Catholic Match. I am not a professional relationship counselor or anything like that. My wife is, but I am not. I am not a professional whatsoever. I'm just a guy who loves helping people out in their relationships, who loves to talk to single people, whose job it is to talk to single people every day, deal with their issues, help them through everything. And so I'm really, really happy to be here. Really, really excited to be here. I am as well. Like I said, I'm not a professional, but I am a professional at one thing, which is marrying my wife. I'm 1-for-1 on that, so that's great to hear. But besides that, I'm just someone who wants to help you guys out. So tonight is run by you guys. If you guys have any questions whatsoever, please feel free to raise your hand in the chat feature. If you look down and you see the little smiling emoji face feature, that is the feature that you can raise your hand if you have any question whatsoever. It'll pop you on screen. You don't have to turn on your camera or anything like that. Just want to hear your voice and chat about what's your problems, what's going on in life, who you talking to, give me the spicy tea. Let's go. Let's talk about it. So all that to be said, right? We'll be on as long or as little as you guys want, right? It's up to you guys. So if you guys have any questions, any advice you guys need, anything you just want to talk through or rant about or anything like that, feel free. We've had some people email us questions as well. And so if you guys have any questions, you don't want to, maybe you can't make it to the live event here or something like that, you can always email us at Tony@Catholic Match. So Tony with a Y, not with an I, Tony with Y at CatholicMatch.com. You guys will get first priority with the dating hotline as well. I've got a couple of emails from you guys as well. But if you guys have any questions, hit that notification, hit that emoji, get your hand raised, and we will get you guys on stage here. While you guys are coming up with the questions, while we wait for our first caller in today, I do have someone who messaged us. Okay, I do have someone who emailed us. I've got 2 emails for you guys that I would love to share with you guys and talk a little bit about. Okay, so let's begin. Let me. Ooh, it's bubbling. I always get a crazy dry mouth when it comes to these things. It's the Lord way of telling me I need to talk less, but I digress. Okay, so a couple of questions here. This first question is from Brett from Kentucky. Brett from Kentucky writes, "Hi, Tony. I have vision issues that stem from birth, which caused me to not feel comfortable driving. What I'm struggling with most is finding someone who will accept me despite these circumstances about me. I want to be open and honest with anyone I meet on Catholic Match, but I feel as though they don't want to get to know the true me beyond my driving issues. I even say when I message with them or talk with them that I offer to pay for their gas at least, but they always say don't worry about it. The other issue is distance. I'm trying to stay between Louisville, Kentucky, and Cincinnati, Ohio to make things a little easier for everyone, but get all of the views but no responses. It is like an hour is still too far for some people. I go out farther distance-wise, knowing it would be harder, but I don't know what to do. What advice do you have?" So there's a couple questions in here, okay? There's a couple questions in here from Brett that I want to address a couple of them. One is right the disability, right, with the seeing issue and stuff like that. Okay, then the other is the distance issue. Okay, so I'll address both here. One, as far as the seeing issue. So you Brett, you write that you one of the things you say to people right away is you talk to them about the fact that you can't drive, right, or at least you don't feel comfortable driving, right, because of vision issues. Number one, right, I've said this before to a lot of people, is a disability should not be a hindrance for the person who you end up marrying, right? Yes, it can be a burden, but it's not a hindrance, right? So those people who refuse to give you even the time of day because maybe your vision isn't great, those people, praise the Lord that they didn't message you back. I'll say that right away. But also I want to highlight this one thing as well, okay? Because here's an interesting thing. I talk to a lot of people who have disabilities, and they want to be upfront and honest when talking to a partner or something like that, right? That's great. Honesty is great, okay? But brutal honesty doesn't necessarily, there's a time and a place for honesty, right? There's a time and a place for brutal honesty, and it doesn't necessarily have to be at the first message. That's what I like to tell people. I've met people all the time who the number one thing they tell about me is their disability, right? Or what they struggle with, right? Now, if that happened with anyone, right, that's an automatic turnoff for people, right? Regardless of the disability, right? So get to know Brett for who Brett is before you just start all of a sudden saying, okay, these are the issues I have and stuff like that, right? Same thing with other aspects as well, right? If I don't know, I'm thinking of a disability here, right? If I was obese, right? If I was obese and I was struggling with obesity and I was struggling with eating, right? That's not my identity, right? That's not who I am. Who I am is Tony, right? And from there, you get to know Tony, and you'll get to know the things about me and the things that make me click, and maybe the things that are struggles with me as well and stuff like that. So don't lead off with the fact that you can't drive or anything like that, right? Because that can come off as being unattractive, right? So first things first, stick with that. Stick with how to get to know you first before you get to know the disability first. I'll start with that. Secondly, you had a question about the distance in relationships, right? You wanted to stay close for the convenience of others. That's great as well. But at the same time, right? Sometimes you just need to expand it. What I tell people all the time is expand your dating range as far as you possibly can, and then expand it a little farther. Okay. Because the Lord, I truly believe the Lord does truly reward those who trust in him, right? And it's scary to expand it out because of the fact that, long distance relationships don't necessarily work super well, right? But it's important to be able to expand it out farther than you feel comfortable doing. Okay. If you've got it set at 50 miles, spread it out to 100, right? If you've got it set at 100 miles, spread it out to 200, right? Expand it farther than you think. Okay. And I promise you the Lord will reward you. Okay. So keep it up. Keep your chin up, Brett. Thank you so much for the question. I see Andrea. We have our first question of the night from Andrea. I don't know. We're going to find out here pretty soon. Andrea, can you hear us okay?
Yes, it is Andrea.
Andrea. Perfect. Thank you for clarifying. I am terrible with pronouncing names. I always pronounce the wrong one, so I'm glad I got it right. But no problem. Awesome. Andrea, what questions do you have?
Okay, so I was verbally berated via messaging by a gentleman here, and he was like very aggressive and hostile because I had not yet received my annulment. And he was saying, like, how dare you be on this website? You should not be on this website because you're not free to say yes to, somebody. And I was like, oh, well, I put in my profile, like, I'm here for friends, not like, oh, I'm waiting to find my next husband, Also and I told him, I said, well, there's also community events and that I really enjoy attending. There's rosary nights. And I just blocked him after that. I was like, oh my gosh, this is too much. And so, yes, that was my question. Like, I mean, I don't know that. Yeah, that's my question. Do you guys recommend that while we are in the annulment process that we deactivate or pause? But then if we pause, are we still able to attend events like the rosary and the trivia night?
Sure. Yeah.
Thank you.
I think that's an excellent question, Andrea. And it's, how do you deal with bullies, right? And that's ultimately right what that guy is right. He's a bully, right? While he's not necessarily wrong, right? That you obviously, you can't be pursuing another marriage while not fully annulled yet. It seems like you said you're in the annulled process. What you said?
Yes, I'm in the annulment process.
And that I've had some friends that takes years sometimes, right?
I don't
Yeah,
know. I'm in
sure.
months, so I don't know. I hope
Sure.
it doesn't take years. The Lord's will be done, though.
Yeah, there you go. Sometimes it takes a really long time, right? And so I think we had a guest on not too long ago, Father Larry Richards, who dealt with who we asked a similar question to, right? And I think the way you handled this beratement from this gentleman, I think is a really, really good way, right? You explained, hey, I'm on here for to meet friends. I'm here for the live events, right? I'm here, to build friendships that could lead maybe down the road once the annulment process is fully through, right? Could lead to relationships down the road, right? And that's great. That's awesome. Now, I think it's really important to have that in your bio, right? So honesty in that sense, right? But at the same time, um, to be able to participate in meeting other people, it's not wrong to have single friends if you're divorced, right? It's not wrong to have single friends if you're in the process of annulment, right? It's not wrong to get to know people of the other spouse as long as you two are on the same page about what the future looks like, right? Um, and so going on dates with people is not wrong, right? Actively pursuing marriage with that person when you are still in the process of annulment, right? That's not allowed. But going on dates, getting to know people, right? Getting to know other friends, joining community events and stuff like that. There's nothing wrong with that, right? So absolutely stay on, keep joining the events, right? Does that kind of help, Andrea? Or Andrea?
Yes, it does. Yeah, no problem. And I was as you were saying that, I was thinking, I was like, on my profile, it does say divorced. It doesn't. I don't have annulled on there, so
Okay. Okay.
I guess that's
Yeah,
also another factor. Maybe
I
he just
think
did
I think
it.
it's an interesting thing, right? You could if you I think you could go either way, right? You could put divorced. I guess you're not fully annulled yet. If you do put like annulled, right? You could say in the process in your description, right? In the process of being annulled or something like that, right? Um, but I
Well,
think
I guess
it
that's why.
could go for it.
Well, yeah, that's why I was confused because I put divorced. I didn't put annulled. So
Right.
maybe he just didn't fully read my profile. I mean, I did put divorced. So
My guess, and Andrea, is
mhm.
this was a very upset man who wanted to get out his upset frustration on Andrea. That's my guess.
Aw.
Yeah. So I'm glad you're taking it well, but at the same time, right? I don't think you're doing anything wrong. I think you're on the right path. You're doing what you should be doing with this. You're being open, you're being honest about it, right? So I think you're on the right path. I think this was a gentleman who probably needed to get out some frustration and unfortunately took the wrong avenue. He should go work out. But
Thank you.
but while you guys are figuring out your questions, maybe you're, getting up the courage to come talk. I don't bite. It's okay. I don't bite. But if you guys have any questions, feel free. But I have another email I wanted to get to as well. That's on a really similar thing to what Andrea just had in mind. Okay. That's on a very similar path. And this one here, I'll read it to you guys. This is a little bit paraphrased because it was a long email, so I shortened it a little bit. But it's from Mary Alice. Okay. Um, so she's speaking to this gentleman. And I met him for lunch over a week ago, and he was extremely pushy while at lunch. I had to say no to him or I had to say 8 or 9 times, please stop being pushy. But he wouldn't listen or comply. He said to me upon parting the restaurant for me to call him. Now, Tony, I was always taught man pursues woman and that I should not chase a man. Only an egotist appreciates it when a woman chases him. I didn't say to him that I would call, essentially leaving the ball in his court, but I don't really want a pushy bully. My question to you is there anything that women can do regarding a bully except ignoring them and moving on? I don't like being cruel to people, but we have to do what we have to do. Okay, Mary Alice, to this question, there's a couple things I want to address here as well, because this is a great question. It's really similar to, right, what Andrea was dealing with as well, right? And here's the thing: dealing with bullies, again, it goes back to grade school, right? When you're dealing with the bully on the playground. I guess I was homeschooled, so dealing with your brothers on the playground, right? But what I would say this, yeah, sometimes you just have to ignore them. And if in this case, telling him that he's being too pushy 8 or 9 times and still finishing the date, you walk out on the second time you do that, right? Walk on it. If you tell them that they're being too forward or anything like that, and they don't stop after one time, you get up and you walk away. You just walk away. It's not worth it. Trust me, life is too short to be with a bully. Why in the world would you pick to spend the rest of your life with someone who is bullying you, right? Why in the world, out of all the people you could spend your time with, right? Why spend it with a bully? That's personally what I would have to say about that. There's also one thing um, that I wanted to clarify with this question as well, actually. So it says only an egotist appreciates when a man pursues him. Okay. I don't think that's necessarily true. Okay. There's a little bit of a hot take. In the Catholic dating world, it's difficult because here's the thing. And I've been actually pondering this a lot lately. But it is not wrong to desire a man to pursue you. Okay. As a man, it is not wrong to desire to pursue. However, on the flip side, as a woman, it is also not wrong to desire to pursue. As a man, it is also not wrong to desire to be pursued. I desire to be pursued by my wife every single day. My wife pursues me every single day, and vice versa. A relationship is about mutual pursuit. Okay. And so I think a lot of times what ends up happening in Catholic circles is you have this, well, the man has to pursue, the man has to pursue, and then the man isn't pursuing, and you're stuck going, what in the world is happening? I think this is an interesting question, okay? Because here's the thing. Statistics don't lie in this sense. When a woman makes the first move on a guy, when the woman makes the first move on a guy, it is 2.5 times more likely that that relationship will end in marriage. That's a true statement. That is a true statement. If a woman makes the first move, you have a 250% more likely chance that that relationship ends in marriage. That is a true statistic, okay? Why is that true? Okay? Why is that true? Is an interesting question, okay? It is not wrong for a girl to make the first move. It is not part of the fantasy of most people, right? It is not ideal, but it is not wrong for a girl to make the first move. It is not wrong for a girl to pursue. Okay. It is not wrong for a lady to pursue a man. Okay. Now, again, this goes the difference between desiring a fantasy marriage and desiring a marriage. Okay. It is not wrong for a woman to pursue. It's not wrong for a man to pursue. And it's not wrong for a man to desire to be pursued either. Right. Just what Patrick said, right? I would love to have a woman ask me out, right? Part of the reason why you're 2.5 times more likely to end in marriage is because men love to see that a woman going for something they desire, right? Now, yes, ideally the man would pursue, but what I'm trying to get at is it does not have to be that. Okay. There's so many women who are saying, I would never go after a man. I would never pursue a man. I would never ask out a man, right? Or why doesn't he understand that I want to date him? I stared at him for 2.5 seconds, right? It's just not the case, right? Go for do it. The Lord rewards the bold, not just the bold men, but the bold. Okay. I'll get off my soapbox there a little bit. I see Annie's hopping in here with a take. Annie, how you doing?
You can't get rid of me that easy. Hi, everyone. So, Tony, last time we had this, I had strep. And this
Yeah,
time we have this, I have COVID. If it wasn't such a good turnout and we had such good people on, I'd say we just need to cancel this altogether because I don't know what it is about the dating
it's bad
hotline, but I am
juju.
always sick.
Yeah, guys,
So,
we
no,
advertised again.
I know
We
Patrick's had
advertised
his,
with
oh, go ahead.
real quick, Annie. We
Yep,
advertised this again. Maria and I were supposed to be hosting this together. She's down sick as well.
she's
So if
sick.
something's going around the Catholic
It's
Match website, man.
crazy. It is crazy. So I apologize for my appearance and cheers, Tony. I don't know what kind you're drinking. Cheers.
This is
Um,
Aldi brand.
oh nice. I got sunshine. I don't recommend it. Has anyone had that kind? That's the first time. It's not very good. But Patrick's had his hand up a while, so I'm just gonna pop in really quick. I pursued my husband, and we are celebrating our 13th wedding anniversary on the 5th. So, and our story's kind of different, I know, but ladies, do it. I mean, yeah, don't be afraid. And I feel like we need to be the ones who are wooed, and pursued and wined and dined. I mean, granted, he did that too, but I think he was kind of waiting to see where I was with it the night we met. And so I just wanted to throw that out there really quick that absolutely, ladies, go for it.
Yeah, yeah. No, I love that, Annie. And also, Teresa from Ann Arbor also has an interesting point as well. Says we need to clarify what we're talking about when we're talking about pursuit, right?
Hmm.
Is to clarify the meaning of pursuit, right? I think initiate would probably be a better word as well, right? Pursuing someone, right? Pursuing someone relentlessly can be creepy. The difference between a stalker and pursue and a cute pursuer is just how attractive they are, right? And so I absolutely agree. Initiate, I think, is a great word for it. Initiate,
Initiate's a good word.
right? The proof
Thanks,
the
Tony.
proof is in the pudding, right? Annie pursued her husband, and here they are, right? I pursued my wife, and she is now pursuing me just as actively as I'm pursuing her, or initiating, right? And so I love it. But Patrick, I've seen your hand's been up for a while, so we'll have you on to the stage.
Hello. I wrote. Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
I wrote. I have trouble actually getting talks with the individuals that want to date me on Catholic Match. I struggle to even have any messages. The messages I send out, and I just don't know why.
Okay. Okay.
Like I am a. I wouldn't say I'm not a fervent Catholic, but I am definitely I believe in God and I try to follow His ways. I don't necessarily agree completely 100% with the church, but
Hmm.
most of I agree with most of the church.
Hmm. Okay. Okay. And so if you had to guess, Patrick, right? I guess I can't tell you exactly why, right, women aren't responding or anything like that. If you had to guess why you think women would not respond to you or you're not getting one-on-one conversations with women on Catholic Match, why would you think that is?
Well, I mean, there have been times, very rarely, where I've been brutally honest, like you mentioned, which is a no-no. Um, I have I find that I'm not that lookish appealish. I don't appeal because I'm not exactly the most beautiful guy in the world, but um, maybe it stems for me my job life. I really don't know. I'm just so confused. I would like to find a full-time marriage and I would like to have some kids and I want to find someone that matches with my personality that I actively can pursue and they actively pursue me and have only one relationship, of course, and follow the God's law as best I can.
Mhm. So when you've talked to women in the past, right? Why has it not worked, do you think?
Um, I'm not sure. It was always cut short, and I just thought they just weren't interested. I don't know if there was something about my profile, maybe the way I looked, or maybe the way I responded. Uh, Maybe I didn't respond in an interesting way. Um, I usually sometimes I go into more of a like I wouldn't say an interrogation, but I ask them questions to get to really know them. And I don't share memories of my life with them.
Hmm.
Or sometimes I do, but that trigger, more of a bonding session where I guess incorporate, an event of their life and I relate it and make it common and make a good relationship on that.
Hmm.
I know everything's about relationships in life and building good relationships are important to be successful.
Yeah, yeah. I think there is something interesting to be said as well. It's very good that you ask them about them, right? That's great. And that's, the age old saying, right, is people love to talk about themselves, and they always will talk about themselves, right? And so that's great to get to know them, right? To initiate conversation by getting to know them, right? So the first thing I'd say is, right, start by getting to know them, okay? But also, right, there has to be a level of vulnerability on your part as well. It's really easy to be an interrogator, right? It's really easy to figure out questions to ask someone, right? But what's hard is that it is difficult to also bring out your own self and get to show the vulnerable parts of your own self, right? With someone over a screen, right? With someone who you don't know super well. Getting to like vulnerable parts. But, right, you will never have a successful relationship if you don't share that part of yourself with you, right? And so increased vulnerability, right? Obviously, right, we talked about earlier, we talked about brutal honesty in the very beginning, right? Maybe not the thing you want to start out with, right? But I think eventually once the pleasantries are over and stuff like that, Patrick, and there's a certain sense of, okay, this person is interested in me. They are an interesting person. I am interested in them. It's going the step further by being able to be vulnerable and honest with them about your life and about who you are as Patrick, right? Um, and so I'd say that just from what you said, it seems like you've gotten down to asking other people the questions, right? But then going, who is Patrick, right? On the inside, I think is something that's really important. Does that make sense?
I gotcha.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm not figuring out who I am. Maybe I just need to a little bit figure out what I want to be. And
Right.
I've sat down and I've tried to analyze and look at what I really want to be, and I've been going forward with that, and I'm just a good-hearted engineer.
That's great. Well, I mean, Patrick, I know you said you struggle somewhat with some of the teachings of the church and stuff like that, but I think, I mean, getting to know the Lord is the best way to get to know yourself, right? Because he will reveal yourself to you as well. So I honestly, man, if I could give you any advice, it's get to know this person on the wall first, and he will help you know yourself and through that others. And you'd be surprised how quickly people can come into your life because of that. So keep up the good fight, brother. Thank you so much, Patrick, for hopping on. You have a blessed night. Let's see, we got some questions posted as well. Why is it so hard to find Catholic women? Well, depends what age group of Catholic women you're looking for. I know this is anonymous, so I'm not sure. Why is it so hard to find Catholic women? I find a lot of elderly Catholic women in the church on Monday mornings, right? Daily mass, right? And so it's not difficult to find Catholic women. Now, here's the key, right? I'm not belittling what you're saying, right? It is hard to find the one, okay? And we often like to say, if only I could find just one good Catholic man or one good Catholic woman, I would marry them and just ride off into the sunset, right? But that's not the case, okay? Because here's the thing: define good, right? Define one good Catholic woman, right? We whether you want it or not, right? You have certain standards and you have certain things you want that person to meet, right? And so a lot of times the good Catholic women are the people you're not paying attention to, right? Are the people who you kind of brush off or something like that, right? The good Catholic men, right, may not look like Henry Cavill, right? The good Catholic women, right, may not look like, I don't know, fill in an attractive female celebrity, right? But they're there, right? You go to any Catholic church on a Monday morning and you will find Catholic women. I don't know this anonymous person, right? I don't know if they're young or old or whatever. You go to community events. There's always community events. Come to Catholic Match Relate. We'll be doing a social tables right after this as well. So if you guys have questions, if you guys want to meet Catholic women, whoever this person is. Why is it so hard to find Catholic women? It's not. We've got 25 of them here tonight, right? Go get to know them. And we have plenty of more males as well. So that's what I'll say. As far as, is it hard to find Catholic women? No, it's hard to find great Catholic women, right? It's not hard to find Catholic women. It's hard to find the one, right? Out of 8 billion now, I think, right? It's hard to find the one. So don't fall into the trap where it is everyone else's problem, right? I will say, don't fall in the trap that it's everyone else's problem and that there's no good. I hear this all the time. There's no good men out there. There's no good women out there, right? Don't fall into that trap, because there are, right? There are. You just have to keep trusting in the Lord, and keep taking the steps, okay? Coming to events, showing up to church potlucks when you don't want to, right? Doing all these things. The Lord, once again, guys, the Lord rewards boldness, right? The Lord rewards those who trust in him, leaping in faith, right? Trust in the Lord. And oftentimes, I will say this to whoever's this as well. Oftentimes, the person you end up marrying is the person you least expect. Okay. So don't be afraid to rethink friendships, right? To rethink. Everyone has friendships with people who are of the opposite sex and stuff like that, right? Don't be afraid to think, oh, maybe the Lord's putting someone in your mind, in your heart, right? That you haven't given the time of day to. Give that person the time of day, just for a little bit. See what happens. Okay. See what happens when it comes down to it. Okay. I think that's what I'll say for that. Guys, again, if you guys want to hop on and chat with me, feel free to hit the reaction button and raise your hand. I would absolutely love to be able to chat with you guys in person, right? Online. There we go. There's Aaron from Colorado Springs.
Tony, how are you?
I am great, Aaron. Great to see you again.
Good. Yes. Glad to be here. I was just curious your thought. The algorithm always gives you, once you start looking at one thing on dating, like that's all my Instagram feed is like dating advice, whether it's good or bad.
Yep.
But one thing that I was seeing a lot, like the difference between men and women, that men more often will very quickly decide like, oh, this is somebody that might have potential, or they immediately are like, no, this person like at most would be a friend. Whereas women like can warm up more and decide, and like they grow on. You see interviews with people, and the women more often is like, well, I didn't really like him at first or wasn't super interested, but then he grew on me. And it seems like men aren't that. And I was just curious kind of your take on that idea, if men are very quick to decide, or if men can warm up to an idea and be interested.
I mean, I will say this, Aaron, about the Instagram algorithm. I'm a married man who has not dated in 4 years, but because I work for Catholic Match, my entire Instagram algorithm is dating stuff, is singled stuff. So I feel you, but yeah, no. So do men decide right away, or can it grow? Right? Can people grow on them? I think for the female side of things, it's absolutely true. I know in my own life as well, right? I had to pursue my wife quite a lot. I had to ask her out 3 times before she said yes to me. The first time I asked her out, she literally laughed in my face, right? And so, yes, it can grow. Women do sometimes, to say cliche, right? Love can come softly in that sense. I'm a witness of it, right? But also, to get kind of to the crux of your question, I think, Aaron, is asking, can the opposite be true, right? Can men grow over time to someone who they originally brushed off or something like that, right? Can they grow over time? Or is it, I think the statistic is right, men know within 36 seconds of meeting a girl if they're going to marry them or something like that. I think that was a study that came out in the early 2020s, which is, I don't know, you can believe it or not, but men are generally much more quick to judge, we'll put it that way, right? To judge a future spouse. Partially that is because I think the attributes men look for in a spouse are much more readily apparent, right? So that doesn't mean just physical attributes, but the attributes you're looking for in a spouse tend to be much more readily apparent in women than they are with men. Partially because women are very a lot better at being able to express their emotions, right? And so the things you're looking, the nurturing, caring kindness, right, that you're looking for in a spouse, is you can find that much easier in a woman, or you can find it much quicker in a woman
Mm.
than you can with a man a lot of times, right? And so I think that lends to it. But of course, men can, to answer your question, men can grow in it. A lot of times they need to be poked and prodded to do this, though. Here's the thing about men, right? Is that a lot of times men will make up their mind about a woman and say, nope, Erin is not my future spouse. Okay. Moving on. Okay. But if Erin does something that makes them reconsider this, they will reconsider, right? They
Mm.
will reconsider. If there's someone, I'm thinking of a friend of mine from college, right, who was best friends with this girl, basically his entire life, best friends with this girl. Never once did they date. Never once did they do anything. She actually like suggested that he go to seminary and stuff like that.
Mm.
He went to seminary. They stayed friends and everything like that. He never once thought about dating her. And then one day, the Lord came to him and said, hey, I put your wife in your path like years ago. Go find her. Right. And he goes back and now they're married and they have like 5 kids. Right. And so men do reconsider. Right. They don't reconsider as easily as women, and they don't grow in the relationship as quickly as women. But they do, and they can reconsider. But a lot of times it's they reconsider because the woman in their life helped them reconsider, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
thanks.
That's what I would say about that. I think that's an excellent question. It's something that's overlooked sometimes, but yeah. But it's definitely true. People, I would recommend every single one of you guys. I know for a fact every single one of you guys has a opposite sex friend who you have not thought about being in a relationship with. Think about it. If as long as they're single, right? Think about it. See what happens, right? That's what I'll say, Erin.
Nice.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Erin, thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate it.
Yep, thanks.
That's great to see so many amazing people on, guys. I see there's a lot of people who have phones and stuff like that. So we'll get to your questions, post your questions. Annie will come on and read your questions in just a little bit and we'll respond to them. But we have Chris from Cincinnati, Ohio, who is on the line. Chris,
hey,
how
Tony.
you doing?
Good.
Good. How can we help today?
One thing I have noticed about Catholic Match is that there tends to be a lot of people that don't have, or not, either their profiles have, or their subscriptions have lapsed, or they aren't premium members, and it is very frustrating when you message someone and after you've waited the 10-day, or after the 10-day, you know how there's a 10-day waiting period, right? For where you've waited for the 10 days and they don't respond to you. And I think one of the reasons for that is they get so inundated with between the day that you message them and the day that expires. There's been so many new messages that your message gets lost, and there's not a feature built into Catholic Match to pull your message back up to the top so they can actually see and respond to your message.
Sure. I mean, well, that could be true at the same time. I think generally speaking, right? People who are active on Catholic Match, they will see your message, right? People who are active on Catholic Match will see your message even after the 10 days, right?
Right.
And so they'll see your message. Maybe they choose not to respond. Maybe they choose to respond, right? I think part of the perk of being a premium member, right, is you obviously get to see it. And so there's more likelihood that you get an immediate response, right? Because when people see the response right away, they're more likely to respond to that response right away than 10 days later, right? So that's part of the perk of being a premium member. But at the same time, right, messaging as a premium member, it's difficult messaging free members sometimes, right?
Yes.
Because of that. However, I do want to say that I don't think that because someone has to wait 10 days, they won't see your message, right? They will see your message, right? They'll see it in 10 days, right? But the likelihood that they will respond if they're interested is still pretty high, right? Because I imagine you get a message from a beautiful woman and you have to wait 10 days to respond. That's not going to prevent you from responding. That's actually going to make you wait and want to respond quicker, even, right? That's going to make you count down the days till, oh man, I can't wait till I can respond to Chris in 10 days, right? And so I think I would almost argue the opposite, that it's not a hindrance. I think it's actually more of a help for people, right? If they see someone whose profile who they're excited about talking to, right? And then maybe it can spark something with them. So I would say look at it on the other side of it, Chris. But that's just my opinion on it. So there you go. Get you on, Luna. I'm very happy you came on, because I know you said you were a little camera shy, but there we go. Luna from Atlanta, Georgia. Luna, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. How's it going?
It's going good. And first of all, I like to praise Catholic Mass for such a great ministry where you connecting men and women together. And I love to read all the successful story and praying one day I will be part of that.
You will. Trust in the Lord. Yep. That's awesome. We appreciate it.
Alright. So I have a question because I really don't want to miss out on good men
Hmm.
or investing my heart where there isn't mutual commitment.
Hmm.
So my question is related to exclusivity that should be understood. When two people agree to be girlfriend and boyfriend, would that naturally means neither person is continuing to or maintaining active profiles on Catholic Match.
Right.
Is that clear?
Right. Yes.
Okay.
No, I believe so.
Okay. So if you so I recently entered into a dating with a man here, wonderful, and over the time I have been blessed with meeting quite numbers of Catholic men who's really wonderful people. For some reason, the Lord didn't will us. That's another story. Um, but this person, we were going on 6 weeks, and in the beginning, like in 2 weeks, I asked to be exclusive, but I didn't press on it. So I went on my profile and I put some wording on my profile for a lot of people to see, because I like to honor the person that I chose to be with. And so I put something like profiles on Paul, his name and location that he captivated my attention. Then we go on and have so he reached out to me after a week of receiving his announcement, and I am a widow, and we both have children, and we have multiple time have our children together, and they play well and they enjoyed each other. Then we also introduced our parents together. I know everything happened just 6 weeks. Isn't that amazing?
That's
um
awesome.
yeah, so after we our parents met, I we I met him, and I said, well, I like to delete my profile because
Mhm.
we are exclusive, and I trusted that he would too. So I leave it as that. I went and deleted, and so about a week ago, before I delete my profile, and then there's another great thing about Catholic Match is that women can talk to women. I met a couple of ladies up here, and they're wonderful people. So I
Mhm.
catching up with them, and they said, "Well, your profile is off." And I said, "Yeah, because I met somebody. I'm so excited." And he and I go exclusive, and we got the conversation, and I send them pictures of him, and to which and to which no, he's still on it. And so I have to dig everything out, go back and re-register, pay my fees and all that. And
So
so I
let
can
me just
see him with my own eyes.
let me just clarify something, Luna, just real quick, so I make sure I'm understanding it. So you are in a relationship with this guy, yes?
Yes, we are called each other girlfriend and boyfriend. Our children met. We date numbers of, we went out on dates number of time.
Mhm.
I talk about exclusivity, and I told him about I'm deleting my profile.
And has he deleted his profile?
So he did not, because through my girlfriend, she said that I think he's still there. So I have to re-register with Catholic Match, pay the due, just so that I can see it from my own eyes, and
I
he is still there.
I don't think you have to do that. I think you can just ask him, right? If he can be, he should be able to be honest with you if he's in a relationship with you, right? And if he's not honest with you, right, they have another thing coming. And you shouldn't probably be in the relationship. So I don't think you have to re-register to confirm. I think you can confirm by talking to him, right? If that's a
Yeah, true. But I'm a woman with evidence. So I of course we talk, right? So I send him a message through Catholic Match, asking him about my confusing and actually hurt. And then we took it to the text, our phone, and he never really answered my
Mm,
question. He just said that it's impossible to date two people. Well, to me, it's just like we're going on dinner, a date, right?
mhm.
And I mean, having his profile still on Catholic Match, another way to look at it is like we're going on dinners, and he look at every single woman passing by. That's to me. Am I?
Luna, I'll stop you here a little bit, okay? Um, because here's the thing, okay? This the way you're describing this guy, right? And I don't know him personally, right? The way you're describing this guy is that he seems really, really hesitant to commit to you. Okay. If he's really, really hesitant to commit to you 6 weeks in, when you are the most exciting and the most um attractive that you will probably ever be in the relationship, right? How does that look 10 years down the road? Right. And so
Right.
what I would tell you honestly, Luna, what I would tell you, right? I love that you're here tonight. I would honestly message him, and I would say, "Hey, we need to both delete our cafe. If we want to continue talking, it's been 6 weeks now. That's plenty of time, right? Especially for someone who's you're widowed, he's annulled, right? That's plenty of time. You need to I hate to use the word ultimatum, but give him a little bit of an ultimatum and say to him, "Hey, listen, I'm going to delete my account. You're going to delete your account, or we're going to have to stop talking." Right? Because I think it's that serious, because right, if he's looking at other women, if he's refusing to get off a dating app, right, then that's not someone you want to be in a relationship with, right? And that's hard because I'm sure he's a great guy, but I think it's really, really important that you get that communication through right away, right? That you are not someone who is going to lay down and let him look at other women or keep staying on Catholic Match or anything like that. The goal of Catholic Match is to get on, find your spouse, and get off, right? And
Oh,
so,
that's true. That's
yeah.
true. Yeah. I mean, I of course I asked all those questions because I already mentioned. I mean, not mentioned. I already talk about exclusivity. Because I honor him and I want men who honor me. I'm here. We already not together anymore. I am
Oh,
here to. I am here to kind of. So I think you answer my question. I think I am good. I started with I just want to know if I'm missing out on a good man. So
mm,
I think I have the answer,
yeah,
and I
yeah.
think I
No, I
did the right thing.
I
Thank
think
you so
you're I
much.
Of course, I think you're doing the right thing. Yep, absolutely, and it's difficult. It's difficult, especially when there's good men out there and stuff like that. But I think you're doing the right thing in
Yeah,
in
this doesn't mean he's
respecting yourself.
bad. It's just that bad choices. Yeah, yep.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Thanks for coming on,
Yeah.
Luna. I appreciate it. Annie collected some of you guys' questions. We'll do a little rapid fire here for
I
you.
forgot to put names with the questions, but if you hear your question, just yeah.
Yeah.
Really quick, Tony, I'm sorry. So we were talking about, going out with friends and stuff. And of course, we all want a Catholic spouse. And I don't encourage you to not look for a Catholic spouse, but we did have Dr. Ray Garendi on 2 weeks ago on Real Catholic Voices. And even he pointed out when he met and married his wife, she was not Catholic, but she was like a really, sorry, my brain fog is ridiculous. Just very good Christian girl. And she was open to it. So I just want to throw that out there as well.
Yep.
Because, in the chat, we're talking about, where are all the good Catholic women? Where are all the good Catholic men? I think you have to be open because maybe God is putting someone in your path to bring them home with you to
Yeah.
the Catholic Church. I just wanted to point that out super fast. I'll post that whole chat that whole video in the chat here in just a second too. If you missed Dr. Ray, he was phenomenal. So definitely check out Real Catholic Voices. Tony hosted that. Dr. Ray is the best.
He is great. He gives really great practical advice. Right?
Very much so. So I will get that. Really quick though, I will start with the first rapid fire. Should men date someone who someone older than them? Is this the correct order in life?
There is no correct order in that sense, right? There's absolutely not. I'm married to a woman who's older than me, but there's absolutely no correct order in that sense. So you do not have to marry a woman older. You do not have to marry a woman younger. It is whatever the Lord wants. So absolutely not.
Okay, I like that and I agree. Why do I keep getting women from other countries? Why don't I get women close to Michigan? That's kind of a logistics question.
Yeah, I change you're probably set to a worldwide setting. You can change the geography, right? You can change, you want 50 miles, 100 miles, worldwide, whatever you want. You can change only in Michigan, right? You can change it on the Catholic Match app under the settings for your profile. So that's probably the reason why.
I think so. Thank you, Tony. In the chat, sorry guys, I just posted that video. So definitely bookmark that. Is it okay to not respond to messages when you're interested, or is it better to respond and give clarity? My fear is that it will lead them on, and sometimes it can be overwhelming to respond to some of the messages. So I think what they're asking, if they're not interested, is it okay not to respond?
I think that's what they're asking as well. It's chances are almost always it's better to respond. It is better to respond, and communication is always better than not communicating, right? In all things, right? So don't be afraid of leading them on. Respond, tell them, "Hi, thank you for reaching out. Unfortunately, I'm not interested," or something like that. Respond. Who knows what will happen as well, right? Be open, right? Who knows what will happen? But at the same time, always respond. Okay. We see people on here all the time. Why aren't people responding to me? Right. And stuff like that. I guarantee you, for the sake of the other person as well, they'll be much happier knowing that the answer is no, rather than the answer is, oh, maybe I just missed them because they weren't on at the right time or something like that. Right. It's so much better if just the answer is no. So tell them no.
I like that. Yes, I agree. And then if they berate you or something, you dodged a bullet and you just press the block button, or if they're really awful, the report button. So don't be scared. Just, be honest.
We will get them off Catholic Match.
We will get them off Catholic Match. Tony, are Catholic women not interested in a man with young kids? My boys are 4 and 7 and have behavior issues during Mass. So really, I've been looking for a Catholic woman to join me at Mass to help with kids and date. Do Catholic women not want a guy with little kids?
Well, I mean, I'm not a Catholic woman. But so maybe Annie, you'd be better at answering this one. I don't think that's the case though.
And I think it depends on the woman. And, honestly, that might take a very special woman. Because, I guess something that I would be concerned with personally is the children's mother. And just, is that going to pose some drama down the road? Or is that, that'd be something I would think about. I love kids. I love kids that aren't. I have 3 boys. They are my world. I have lots of friends with kids and I love them, immensely. I love kids and I think most women do. But that just might be something to consider. Just the thought process. And I know that's
Yeah.
not the best news either, but
Yeah. I think single men would be less likely to date a lady who has kids rather than the opposite. Real quick, I do want to comment real quick on there's a comment from our last thing about reaching out to people who you're not interested in. Teresa mentioned something. There is no obligation to communicate with strangers, period. Women especially need to stop feeling responsible for taking care of strangers' feelings. Well, that's true. There is no obligation to respond. However, there is a treat others how you want to be treated thing, right? Where how would you feel if you just got ghosted, right? There is no obligation to, right? But we always recommend that they do, right? It's not that you're feeling responsible for their feelings, right? It's that you are treating them with the dignity and respect that they deserve as other human beings, right? Other human beings, right, deserve to be responded to, right? It's not a sin to not, right? But it's something we always recommend for the decency sake of it. So I'll put it there, Trizzy. Awesome. What other questions do you have? Any?
I think that's it. I was, looking at Teresa's there. Sorry, I know you pronounced your name earlier. Was it Andrea? It does
Andrea.
take a patient person, woman/man, to gently and lovingly be a part of children's lives when behavior differences are present.
Amen.
So
Mhm.
thank you for that. Yes.
true.
And then we have a lot more comments about kind of what we just talked about going on in the chat. But I think that is it, question-wise, Tony.
Awesome. I love it. Well, guys, thanks for coming on tonight and some great questions here. We greatly appreciate it. The night is not over, even though us being on the screen will be over
And
soon.
I'm going to go cough, so I'm going to get off the screen here, and I will
Cool.
get social tables posted in a second.